Hello, this is Alan Schimmel of DevOps.com, DevOps TV, and we're here at the DevOps Enterprise Summit UK 2018. And in this segment, we're joined by three gentlemen from the Verizon team who presented at DUS this year. From my far right, we have Sanjeev. And Sanjeev, if you want to just share your name and title with our viewers.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Sanjeev Jain, and I'm the CIO for the EMEA region for Verizon.
Excellent. Then we have John.
Hi, I'm John Scott. I work for Sanjeev. I'm a DevOps evangelist within Verizon Enterprise Services.
Fantastic. And Oliver.
Hi, I'm Oliver Cantor. I'm in the product strategy team at Verizon.
Great. So, guys, let's talk World Cup. No, we're not going to talk World Cup. You all presented already at DUS this year.
Yep.
And just share what was your title? What did you present on?
So I think what we presented was how do we transform DevOps from becoming a hobby project for IT organization to something that gives a business partners a competitive edge, something that creates a customer delight into our products. And when the business partners come to the IT organization, they come with a sense of urgency and they leave with a competitive edge that the IT department gave them using DevOps.
Yeah, I think, so I represent in a sense, the business at Verizon. And, as the presentation we just gave showed, we had a very, very big ask. And it's the industry that's demanding this with such rapid change in digital transformation and the fourth industrial revolution, you name it, we all know it. There's so much demand out there. And we had a very big ask in our vision. And the reason why it was so compelling is that these guys just had so much better answers. They came to us with a way to transform the way we looked at doing product development with Agile and DevOps and all of these techniques. So it was very compelling for us as a business to work with.
And to be honest, I don't think you left us with any choice. I mean, the way Oliver was talking about was pretty much transforming the whole method in which we consume the network. He was transferring hardware into software-defined services. Yeah. It was very IT-centric. As we said in the talk, technology wasn't aiding the business. Technology was the business in that venture that we did. So
it's extremely disruptive, the market, isn't it? So, we have to keep pace with that market. And in fact, Oliver and his team, they need to actually create the market. How do we monetize this? What is the future? We can define the future. So in order for us as an IT shop to keep pace, we've really got to go super fast. We've got to go on steroids.
Yeah, and I think, business product development, traditional network, if you want to call it traditional, would normally, throw things over the wall to IT, take a long time, the waterfall model, write a lot of requirements, and the same old problems if you wait 2 years to launch something, or sometimes products don't launch. I think they escape somehow. They're like wild animals, and who knows whether it meets the market expectation. Well, that's that was okay to some degree when it was a supply side market. It's a demand side market now, and we would try and look outside for better IT, sometimes, and it was never going to happen. That you just hunt around for somebody who you think is going to do it better. We went to our internal IT and found that culturally we had to merge. Agile itself is getting networks and network engineers and IT engineers finally at the same table. Talking the same language, and so it's the culture change that we had to make and our customers are making. So it's a journey, but it's happened.
Sure. Guys, I got to tell you, I'm just freaking delighted listening to this because it's so kind of backwards from what we usually hear from organizations, right? Where, you have to take people screaming, kicking, and drag them into this transformation. One of the themes I wanted to hit on this panel was around business buy-in, right? And we've heard already, I think, a great insight into Oliver and team's efforts into Sanjeev, you as the CIO, how to buy into this. I'm interested, Sanjeev, how did you sell this up the ladder?
It was really easy in a lot of ways. If you think about it, 20 years back, the organizations were fighting, the businesses were fighting with each other over price. That's how we used to win the market, capture the market, lead the market. Fast forward the clocks now, the price is definitely an area, but the customer delight has become the new unit on which we win the share of the market. And the customer delight comes from how exciting your products are, what cool features they have, I mean, I can go on about examples like how Uber captured the market, how Verizon captured the SDN market, how Airbnb came in, because there was, at the end of it, there was a customer delight. There was a sense of urgency to the market. The market's changing so fast that if you're like 5 minutes late, you already lost the market. So if we combine the two elements, the speed to market and the customer delight, they became the new units in which you were going to win the war or lose the war of the market capture. Selling DevOps as a solution to both those things to people like product development organization like Oliver belongs to really became easy, because that was the answer to it. Now, if you think about the traditionally how the product organizations would have come to us, they would have come to us with not with the vision, they would have come to us with the requirements. Now you give them the comfort factor to say, you just show me the vision and I'll add to the vision. Previously, like, you show me the vision, I'll probably deliver 20% of it in 3 months' time, and then we'll recheck, right? Now you give me the vision, I'll add to it, because that's what the DevOps model is all about, like, speed, efficiency, quality, all combined together. So once those little success stories started coming together into small parts of our organizations, how we develop software, how we rolled it out into production, how we captured the market with SDN, how we led the market with VNS services, it became really like an epidemic spreading across to say there's something exciting happening which is helping us win the marketplace. Our customers were demanding. That was the other thing.
Sure.
If you look at a lot of our customers, what we call the RFPs, they have the mention of the word, we want to work with an organization that has the culture of DevOps. When we throw our requirements to our vendors, our suppliers, we mention that to say we want to work with the organizations that have DevOps and Agile practices embedded into their life cycle. So once the success story came around that one, I think the business buy-in came from people like Oliver.
And I think it's important, like you were saying, that it's not just about the DevOps, the DevOps. It's also about including Agile. It's an iterative process. We talk about the business and IT. We've already got a problem at this point. We've already created two silos, but actually it's a collaboration, because we are Verizon and we need to create that customer delight for our customers. It's not just about Oliver, it is about all of us together. And it's bringing that all together, that light bulb moment when you do see it, we actually are in this together.
And people have been saying that kind of thing for years, of course. And that's true, and I've seen it, and we're all long in the tooth. But and I'm as cynical as probably everybody in this room and all the viewers. But it genuinely is happening, because McKinsey and other people say the IT is the business now, or technology is the business. That is genuinely true. So the worlds of IT and network and other technologies and the vendors are merging, and our customers, they're doing this. They want to co-create, co-manage, co-influence with us. And so rather than it being led by one end of the market and having these silos, like you said, it genuinely is a coming together where there's much more parity between all the players involved. So words like ecosystem, which are much overused, genuinely become true now. And
I think one of the things was DevOps was a part of what we call the technology wormhole, which was a vector that gave us a non-linear jump to move faster. And that whole wormhole had many components onto it. So we had DevOps, as John mentioned, we had Agile practices, hackathons, crowdsourcing, design thinking, machine learning, API first culture, crowd. Now, all these things, when they come together, the whole ecosystem, like Oliver, you were mentioning, it comes together. The whole ecosystem starts shining, and then you start seeing the difference in terms of how you're winning or losing the market.
Sure. So, this is all great, right? What happens with my experience in talking to multiple teams, and maybe Verizon's a bit of a red herring, in that because you're fundamentally a technology company, right? It's easier to adopt technology than it is, let's say, in another vertical. But then again, every company is a software company today. But really, the issue, tools are tools, technology is technology. It's people, right? And one of the buy-in issues that we've seen is, people have families and children, they need their paycheck, and they are sometimes very change resistant, to say the least. How did you in your organization overcome that resistance to change?
I mean, that was one of my points where we talked through it. You need to have that sort of empathy with people. So we need to be empathetic towards our sales guys. Our sales guys need to be empathetic towards us and our management chains. We need to understand what we're all trying to get out of this. And I think that's something that's been lacking before. It's very much, I've got maybe, you need to do some coding, and you've got your coding in your inbox, and you need to get it into your outbox as quick as possible, and then you can go home to your wife and kids. But if there's not that passion there, it does just become a very sort of Boolean sort of approach, a robotic approach. Get X, create Y, I'm out. You need to get people to sort of have that buy-in, have that excitement about it. You know, you've just created this SDM product. This is going to be our market leader, as Oliver said today. We are the leader of leaders. You know, that's exciting. We are part of that product. You know, I think that's really inspiring to teams.
Let me bring it home with an example for you. Panel before this, we were speaking to some folks from the financial sector, large banks. One of the gentlemen made an excellent point, and that was, you know, developers are fine and dandy. Developers get excited to develop. They create. He said, you know, the average ops guy, it's just not an exciting job. It's kind of just repetitive, just as you described. I'm pushing the same button.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. And maybe this is why you see them hopping around for a 3% raise. They'll jump from like fleas to the next dog, right? How do you get business buy-in from your ops team, right? How do you keep it fresh and exciting for them?
I mean, I don't think they should be hitting, if you're hitting next, that's where you should be looking at your value stream and going, what value are actually adding here, guys? You need to remove that job. And I mean, one of the phrases Sanjeev sort of teaches is, doesn't matter if to make yourself redundant. That's a good thing, you know. You will find something. If you're talented and you're excitement and you want to learn, there'll be the next job, you know. It's the thought leadership aspect of it.
Yeah, I think
you shouldn't be hitting next.
No.
That's where the robots
I think it's important. Companies rarely say they've got too many people that are talented, so you should do that. But I think that you know, these guys in particular created a culture of gamification and the cup. So I think maybe talk about that. That's the thing that I see that's different, apart from just network guys and IT guys getting on the same table and all actually sharing what the outcome is that you've created a culture of hackathons and cups and
I think
and
culture
dojos. That cultural change is massive.
And the culture is the key word. It runs through so many layers, and you got to attack every layer to change the culture. You can't just do it at the operational layer. You can't do it on the middle management or the senior management. I think one of the things that, John, you mentioned, when we went on this journey of transformation, a digital transformation or a business transformation, for an organization like Verizon, it's been going on for since 80s. So we have a huge legacy stack. And there are people who work on those legacy applications. Now, if you're not careful, you can create an environment with DevOps where the people working on the legacy stack are ignored. And what happens is they stop participating.
Yeah.
So
that's that bimodal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. And I always thought of bimodal as, you know, back in school there was a slow class, right? For the kids who just weren't.
Absolutely.
They didn't take calculus. They took business math. And you don't want to create a slow class.
Exactly.
Right. And so I was never a fan of bimodal.
So and as a part of the gamification and what John and the team did was, when we were implementing DevOps, they made it technology agnostic. They said, this is what I want to do. I don't care what technology you use, because the moment you put technology into it, the people who don't work on the technology stack back out. Right? The moment you make it technology agnostic, everybody participates. Now you get points in the DevOps cup for collaboration. Now that has got nothing to do with technology, whether you're working on a legacy application or a next-gen application. Everybody gets points for collaborating with others and sharing their DevOps practices. The other thing, I think, from a cultural perspective, was the managers, the middle managers. For years, we built managers who were responsible for software delivery. Right? I am responsible for delivering so many lines of code, so many programs, so many releases in a year. Right? Once we changed that to squads and tribes model, where the only thing we valued and measured was how much value you created with each release. It wasn't about how much software delivered. I managed 20 applications and 30 people, right? It's how much value you create in a month. That just brings the whole change of culture to say, well, if I create more value by automating my task or my team's task, that's a good thing. right? So that was a big shift in the culture as well.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
massive.
I mean, and I got to tell you, the cultural shift is probably, we're talking about it here rather glibly, but it's the hardest part of this whole friggin' equation,
Without
right?
doubt.
And I think it's probably something that people don't get, actually. They just think, oh, it's just IT. It's just not IT.
It's
They
not.
they just deliver code. So back
No,
to our point.
it's the sales guy.
That's right.
It's the HR person. It's the we call it Dev Biz Ops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It's
No,
not easy.
absolutely. And so I talk to a lot of our big customers and do these exec briefings, and we always start the day with listening to them and say, what is your digital transformation, which encapsulates this whole change. And we're really keen to hear where they are on their journey, because we know that if at board level they're not getting it, they're never going to get the money no matter how much. If the HR and CEO don't get it, then they're never going to allow really the company and the dynamics to change. If you're just talking to the IT manager, he probably gets it, and
But
maybe
it's a
some
hit
of the
and run.
business. But then, but we really want to see how much is it gone across. Some of the companies that are more progressive, they start by saying this is a cultural change that we've started, maybe with our HR departments, and they're thinking, wow, that's fundamental, as opposed to, we've done a bit of DevOps here, and you think, okay, let's hope that grows. So it is the hardest piece to change
I agree.
the culture.
Agreed. So here's another question around business buy-in and culture and so forth. And to me, I call it the sustainability issue. It's all fine and dandy. I got a shiny new gadget to sell you, right? I've done my share. We're all salespeople in one way or another, right?
That's right.
And I sell you this shiny gadget, and everyone's all excited about my shiny new gadget. And, a couple months later, some time goes by, and the luster comes off the shiny gadget. Maybe it didn't do as well as I thought it would, or as I overpromised and underdelivered. We all do it.
Yeah.
How do you sustain that passion? Right, gamification is one thing you've done. How long has this project been? This initiative gone on at Verizon, for instance?
Yeah, so I mean, the DevOps Cup specifically, I think we're in our 4th year now. So again, as I said, we started very small, so Verizon Enterprise Solutions, which is our area, and now it's across the whole of Verizon. So it's about starting small and really sort of appreciating what that change can give you, and really celebrating those successes, and that's I think is important. It's important from a grassroots up, and it is, to Sanjeev's point, it's at all levels. If we don't celebrate successes, so actually that was a good win that these guys did. Mainframes are much maligned, but actually I find they're some of the tightest communities we've got, because we're all in it together, guys. Recently Sanjeev's taken on board an application in his area, which is mainframe, and they're kind of like, they're still stuck maybe 15 years ago, but I've introduced them to other mainframe teams, and they're like energized now. They're like, yeah, we can do this. So here's our blueprint. Here's what we term the Verizon pipeline. Let's take that pipeline. Oh yeah, we could go after this box. Let's get all our work into Jira. Oh, and then once we've got it in there, we can integrate it, and it's like an aha moment.
Yeah,
it's coming back to that sort of bing. Oh,
So I think the whole bimodal IT thing was, when you stigmatize children by putting them in the slow class, you stigmatize the mainframe people by bimodaling them and saying, we're going to run real fast here, but you just keep doing it. We're going to run. There's no reason, and actually probably our next panel in here is Rosalind Radcliffe from IBM,
yes.
who's a
Yes.
good friend
Yeah,
of mine,
she's
and she hates. I mean, you talk to her about bimodal, she'll beat you up. There's no reason today that our mainframe system shouldn't be. Why they shouldn't be 15, 20 years behind us. They need to be running if they can't run with the big boys, get off, stay on the porch.
Absolutely.
And there's no reason they shouldn't. And that, again, business buy-in. Right? There are a lot of organizations say, well, they're the mainframe guys.
That whole
missed out.
bimodal piece is really a business reaction, not a and it's
No,
not,
it's not a tech, you're right.
To some degrees, it's an inappropriate technology response to a business problem, which is that when I'm selling, new value, you seem to be buying or wanting to buy old value from me. But we've got new value. We're doing new things. We've got new exciting technologies or new exciting solutions. But companies are purchasing and saying, well, I still just want cost cutting. I want the cheapest possible. It's really a problem that the industry has gone into price reduction mode and being commoditized. And we're trying to say, but you're transforming your business. You need to buy the value. And so they say, well, it's bimodal then, isn't it? There's the old IT and the new IT. And then you do what we always do. You stigmatize, as you say, in technologies or in certain types of business. Hey, I'm Guru, I'm in DevOps, or I'm in AI, or whatever it may be. And of course, actually, you go back to these old teams, so-called old teams, and you find that they've got, just as creative and just as
Absolutely.
experienced and skilled practitioners in this area. It is about the re-energizing, which is why I think, what Sanjeev said about value is the important thing. Rather than you just delivering technology, if you can get people to deliver the value for the products that they're making, then there's a sense that they're doing something.
So that's another theme I've seen here it does this year, and that's the idea of moving away from projects to products, right? Let's stop managing our business via a project planner or a project spreadsheet and move to managing our business via products and solutions, right? And that's a much better metric. It's a much better field to play on, right, than the project-based model.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit. A little bit from the classic product development, product manager's perspective. Mine is that we've moved to Agile now, and there's some funny pros and cons to that. There's lots of pros because you've got this entrepreneurial, creative atmosphere. You've got IT and people combining to make products, etc. But it has its own language. The funny side is that customers still keep asking for roadmaps, and they still keep asking for project plans, in a sense. And it's not too credible when you go back and say, well, in Agile, we don't exactly have roadmaps and have project plans, because we've got, unfortunately, we even call it a backlog.
But we do have Scrum meetup.
But we do things quickly, and we, and so we have
small batches.
Small batches and fail fast. So there's lots of good news, but sometimes customers are like, I want to know what your roadmap is, and go, well, it's a product, it's going to evolve. You tell us what you want.
But that's also a case of the customer hasn't caught up, because I lived that life too. So I co-founded a cybersecurity company, and security is a funny business, to say the least. But and that was always the question we would get is, what does your roadmap look like, and what's your cloud defense? It just, look, if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't be sitting here trying to sell you stuff. I'd be on an island.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that, to be honest, there is a roadmap. There is just a different definition of a roadmap.
Exactly.
I think to John's point, like when we sort of reorganized ourselves in our organization from a project-based team to product-based team, and we call that like squads and missions in our organization, the kind of conversation that we had with our team was very different to what we used to have in the past. In fact, the teams were having that conversation. For years, my team was used to having a conversation with me to say, in July release, we're delivering this. In August release, we're delivering this, right? And that conversation has completely changed to say, we're delivering a version of a product, and we're going to monitor some quotes, some orders, we're going to get some customer experience, we're going to get some customer feedback, and then I'm looking at in September, October time, I'm going to do a second MVP plus one, and by that time I'm expecting 5 customers on board. So they have a roadmap.
Right.
It's just a different definition of a roadmap.
It's different than they're used to, and they need to understand MVP and MVP plus one and these types of concepts. But the good news, and there is good news, is that it's so much more flexible and accountable to what their wishes are. Right? Rather than, because the reason they ask for the roadmap is they're used to the monolith, right? Saying, here's our roadmap. And they have to say, Jesus, does this roadmap meet my needs? Because you're probably not going to change your roadmap. Your roadmap's written on this monolith. Where today, our roadmap's going to be flexible
Yeah.
enough to account.
Now, there are some interesting issues that throws up. We talk to customers about how their whole procurement model has to go digital and has to go agile, even the concept of the agile procurement or the agile contract, because now we're saying, yeah, we have a strategy and we show them the strategy of what we plan to, the areas we plan to pursue, but now there's more flexibility in each of these areas, as per the agile model, depending on what they want. But so they need to financially plan how much money they're going to spend. Yeah. And that's one of the key things. How does this world of technology development now marry up to the financial planning?
And it always does.
And it always does, and that's where the rub is. So we say, well, let's look at framework contracts. Let's look at buckets of money that you can decide to spend if we go in that direction or not. And so now we're defining a slightly looser and more flexible procurement method with our customers.
I think that's a very good point. Procurement. I mean, I've sat in meetings with our customers where we're thinking. The blue sky thinking of ordering a network, ordering your products using devices like Alexa, like you and I order at home using Alexa. Now imagine you're sitting at home and ordering something by Alexa and your procurement department interferes and says, no, you can't order, fulfill that order unless I approve kind of thing, right? Yeah. That's the challenge. If procurement piece doesn't come aligned with the digital age that we're moving in, it'll be a roadblocker. It needs to move on with it.
I hear you. Yeah. I mean, and I was just talking to a representative here from a large vendor, which I won't name, they're a customer of ours, and they sent me a form it's two forms. One was GDPR, and we've all gotten those recently, right? And filled that out, no problem. Then they sent me a form. They wanted to know about what our energy consumption was, and are we green, and all of this stuff. And I'm not manufacturing anything. We do videos. We write content. We do webinars. Do you really want to know what my carbon footprint is, and why do I have to tell you? And there is some of that, especially in larger organizations. It's just a mismatch, right? But I think we need to be optimistic and say that will catch. It's just lagging right now. It'll catch us.
Yeah. And we're certainly very optimistic. We're unexpectedly in some ways, but because of the way we've worked in Agile and DevOps, we're shipping loads of these SDM boxes. This whole SDM piece that I came to talk about, we really got out there ahead of the market, and
But it's there now.
It's there, yeah. The software SD-WAN, software-defined WAN, and white boxes, and our whole orchestration platform that we developed with these guys. It's there, and what we wanted to do is cut through a lot of the noise, strategically and deliver products. So MVP was a brilliant thing for us. We can say, we don't need to talk technology or culture anymore. Here's some products that you can have, and there's nothing better than launching it. Yeah.
Right, putting it in their hands and letting them go.
Yeah.
Last question for you, Jen. So you're a DevOps evangelist, but are you primarily focused internally on the team with Sanjeev's team, or are you out here talking to customers about it, or both?
So it's a mixture of everything. I'm kind of the ultimate inner source. I'm very lucky. Sanjeev's got a very sort of broad mind about this. So I'm actually one of the squad leaders under Sanjeev. So I own various squads. But actually then I'm essentially body shopped over to Ross Clanton's organisation to preach good DevOps practices. So the Verizon Enterprise Services Cup, 4 years ago, that was configured by myself, came up with the idea along with a couple of other guys. So there's an evolution there. This is what we need to be. I don't know what the word is, T-shaped or whatever, it's crazy shaped sort of thing, is that, you need to have that flexibility that actually, Sanjeev, you might not get all my time, but he's been able to sort of provide me into other pieces of the organisation to provide that value, to provide that sort of guidance about
it takes a flexible...
But that's a hell of a mindset there. Yes. Oh, and let's have a little chat with HR about that. And now we're talking about HR need to become digital.
We talk about business buy-in, that's it right there, man. You just defined it.
So part of a new initiative that we're doing, or we're becoming more involved, is called IT enablement. This is something Sanjeev's really pushing, so that we are going to spend time with the customers. We are spending with the sales teams. What products are you going after? And that's kind of very interesting. So tomorrow I'm sitting with a large oil company, and it's just like, to talk about the IT, what have we actually done? What is our digitization story? Which is like, right. So they're interested in us. We've become relevant. Oh my God, Verizon, they're forward thinking. They're out here. This is the sort of team that I want to partner with. So it's not only we're partnering internally, we're partnering now with our customers. It's very symbiotic. It is.
It's big stuff.
It's a new world order almost.
Excellent. Stay away from politics. All right. Guys, this is a fantastic discussion. We've probably gone way, way, way over, but that's cool. We're all good. Guys, congratulations on not only presenting here a great presentation at DevOps Enterprise Summit, but just on the accomplishment and progress at Verizon. I've known Ross for years since he came over to Verizon or before that. And it's not only encouraging, it is gratifying to see the progress. So Oliver, John, Sanjeev, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Continued success. Maybe we'll see you either in Vegas or back here in London next year. But for now, this is Alan Schimmel, DevOps.com, DevOps TV. Have a great day.